It was raining when I arrived at the house. The walls of my room were lined with cat photos, set in fancy frames just below the ceiling. They started on the left as you went in, continued above the window on the far side of the room, and extended halfway down the right-hand wall. I didn't feel like counting them. Some were black and white and others color. Some looked off to one side, while others seemed to stare me right in the eye. The whole room had the austere atmosphere of a family altar. I just stood there in the doorway. "This is nice." I felt a tug on my crochet scarf and turned around to find the little old lady leaning in and squinting to inspect the stitching. I pulled the cord for the ceiling light. Ker-chick! Fluorescent light filled the room. Standing by her at the window she'd opened, I looked out over the hedge of the small garden. On the other side of the narrow street, I could see the station platform. A mild breeze was blowing, and a fine drizzle caressed my face. For a moment, we just stood there in silence. Then there was a chime, followed by a platform announcement. "Train's coming," she said. The deep, pale wrinkles that lined her face seemed suddenly more pronounced, and I backed away from her slightly. "Well, this is your room," she said, and walked off, just like that. I remember thinking, she looks like she's barely got a week to live. I hadn't bothered introducing myself properly when I arrived. It had just seemed too embarrassing. I wasn't in the habit of going around declaring my name to people like that, nor was I used to others actually calling me by it. From the small station, I had followed the map my mom had drawn for me, making my way to the house as slowly as I could. My hair was damp from the drizzle and stuck to my cheeks. Even in my woolen winter cardigan, scarf wrapped tightly around my neck, I felt a chill. It was the middle of April, but there still hadn't been a single warm day all year. I set my duffel bag down on the side of the road and tried to find my folding umbrella, but it had disappeared among the densely packed layers of clothes and cosmetics. As I rummaged around in the bag, the tissues I had squeezed in at the last minute went scattering across the sidewalk. My mom's map looked like she'd copied it straight from a street atlas. Even the smallest alleyways were there in painstaking detail. Below, in her old-fashioned, rounded handwriting, she'd left me a series of unnecessarily detailed instructions. Things like, leave the station by the north exit and go straight down the shopping arcade, or turn left at the corner with the orthopedic clinic. I wrinkled my nose. Clearly, she still worried about me, whatever she might say.